I'm standing in front of 310 South Francis Avenue. On the day of the shooting, I was sitting in the living room on a recliner, and Sherry was pulling out of the driveway and headed towards Kalamazoo Avenue in this direction here. As she was pulling away, I heard what it sounded like gunshots. It was pop, pop, and then after that it was a large kaboom. After the pop, pop, I had stood up, and after the kaboom, a bullet come through the house, passing through just to the left of the front door. Would have killed the dog if the dog was in her bed. Went through the entertainment center, hit the back leg of the dining room table, bouncing from there, hitting walls, making cracking noises and zing zing noises. It finally lost its acceleration. I seen it go over my head and hit a wall, bounce off that wall, and stop approximately 2 feet in front of me and landed right at my feet. At that point there, I dropped on the floor, crawled to the front of the house, looking out the windows, making sure there was nothing wrong with Sherry. I didn't see anything. At that point there, I called 911. When an officer finally showed up, I had to debate with the 911 operator too, because they had already been on one call in this neighborhood for a shooting. That turned out to be on Clemens. When the officer showed up, first thing out of his mouth wasn't, "Is everybody okay?" It was, "I heard you're an activist." I told him I wasn't an activist. I work for a living. I didn't know what he was talking about. Anyways, he walked up and down the streets looking for any kind of shell casings and commented that there was all kinds of shell casings on Clemens in the street. He tried to take some pictures with his camera of the bullet holes, and his camera didn't work. He left and came back with another camera. He took the pictures and didn't do much beyond that, and left. After he left and Sherry came home, I'd been in the shower. I told her I was going to kind of look myself because I didn't like the way he investigated. So what I did is I looked at where the bullet hit the back leg, went through the wall, went through the front of the house, and got a direction from there. And based on that, I felt that maybe the bullet had come from between these two houses. Just inside, about 5 feet past the house, I come across two what appear to be 9mm and one 45 caliber shell casings. At that point there, I called 911 back. 911 operator told me that I could go to jail for the phone call because it was for emergencies only, and my phone call was a non-emergency. After the debate, she chose to let me know that she'd have the officers come back. When he came back and I showed him the shell casings, which were sitting on top of the grass, they weren't in the dirt or anything like that. They had just a little minor tarnish to them. He declared that they had nothing to do with the shooting at my house. He said that they had tarnish on them. They'd been there for a long period of time. There was minor tarnish. When I got the police report, which you'll see, that isn't the scenario that he maintains. He destroyed the 45 caliber shell casing and said that they had nothing to do with my case. Also, when I showed him the bullet that was on in my house, I had a dog that when it landed, she was interested in it and went after it. So I picked it up at the ends with my fingertips and put it on the entertainment center. When I told that to the officer, he yelled at me and said that I had destroyed the evidence. A little irony there, if I can say. Anyways, the police report is what prompted me to, after that, contact the detective in charge of the case. His name was Gill. And after I explained my concerns to him, he asked me how I got a copy of the police report. I told him that it was with a FOIA request that I'd put in. And he asked me what I got it for, and I said, well, I had concerns about what the officer was saying at the time of the investigation, and now I have a lot of concerns about that. And for my insurance company, as soon as I said I had insurance, is when he told me that, you've got fucking insurance and you're calling me and wasting my fucking time. Don't ever fucking call me again. If I need something from you, I'll fucking call you. You got me. After that, I called Internal Affairs. I got to run around from there. Internal Affairs officer told me that I had to do an in-camera interview. That in-camera interview, they only did between the hours of 8 to 5. I worked 7 to 5. And I told them I'd take time off from work. It was important to me. And they told me, oh, no, we'll just do a phone interview. I'll call you back. He never called me back, but I did call him back at the number that he had gave me. That turned out to be the squad room. And the squad room was talking about all of the different cases that they were involved in, having a hilarity time. It sounded more like romper room. When the officer answered, and I asked for the Internal Affairs officer, he said, yeah, he's right over there. He set the phone down, so for 30 minutes I listened to nothing but romper room and how they treat the citizens of the city of Lansing. After that, I tried to contact the chief of police in the mayor's office. Repeated phone calls to secretaries trying to get a phone call back. That was when Benura was in office. I don't recall which one of the chief of police. They were going through so many of them, it's hard to recall just which ones they were. But neither one ever returned my phone calls. And after about the 4th phone call, I asked the secretaries, both of them, if the mayor and the chief of police kept their balls in their wife's purse. And they both said that I shouldn't say that. And I said, well, they sure ain't got the balls to call me back. That was me trying to get any kind of accountability. This house was in much better shape when I owned it. It's starting to go back to what it was before I bought it. Kind of ramshackled, and put a lot of work, 20 years to fix it up, and turned it from the worst house in the neighborhood to the nicest house in the neighborhood. Anyways, that's what had to do with that shooting, and we'll go from there. You have a good day. Thank you.